Good afternoon, Year 7. This afternoon we will be discussing dichotomous keys. A dichotomous key is a series of two choices that lead to the identification of an object. The key can be displayed as a flowchart or as a table, and we will look at an example of each. The dichotomous key is used to decide which group a living thing might belong to. Let's look at some examples. Consider again the animals from the previous video. They included the tiger, the lion, the domestic cat, a bear, a mouse, a cockatoo, and a jellyfish. How could we use a series of two choices to decide which animal was which? We could use a flowchart like this. First of all, ask ourselves, does the animal have a backbone? If the answer is no, the animal is a jellyfish. If the answer is yes, of the remaining 6 animals, we ask ourselves, does this animal have fur or hair? If the answer is no, the animal is a cockatoo. If the answer is yes, then we must ask ourselves, of the remaining animals, which ones are carnivorous? That means eats meat. Where the answer is no, this animal is not carnivorous, it's a mouse. If the answer is yes, we will be left with 4 animals, and we need to ask ourselves, is the animal a cat? The animal that is not a cat is a bear. Of the remaining animals, of the remaining cats, we ask ourselves, does it roar? The one that can't roar is a house cat. The ones that can roar, we need to ask one more question. We ask a question like, does the animal have vertical black stripes? If the answer is no, the animal is a lion. And if the answer is yes, the animal is a tiger. This is how we can use a flowchart, which is a dichotomous key, to identify the 7 animals we looked at in our previous video. Notice that after every question, the answer is either yes or no. At each stage of this flowchart, there are only 2 choices. That makes the chart dichotomous. We can also use a table. For example, if we ask ourselves, does this animal have a backbone? Where the answer is yes, we go to step number 2. Then we ask ourselves, does this animal have fur? If the animal does not have fur, then it's a cockatoo. Let's look at one more example using the table. Ask yourself, step number 1, does the animal have a backbone? If the answer is yes, you go to number 2. Number 2 wants you to ask yourself, does the animal have fur? If the answer is yes, you go to step number 3. At step number 3, we ask ourselves, is the animal carnivorous? If the answer is no, the animal is a mouse. You could apply this chart over and over again to eventually identify all 7 animals that we've discussed in this video. Thank you very much for listening, and in our next lesson, we will practice this with many more keys and many more living things.